Alrighty you guys, so I totally bailed on today's tech show. I wasn't going to, but I ran into a really good Craigslist deal and I couldn't pass it up. So as you guys can see here, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Sorry, I was aiming at the couch. So like this, so this computer looks old. I don't know what it is, haven't really paid attention. But one of the things I was looking at is right here, and this is a 1.5 inch or 1.5 terabyte Western Digital green. So I'm thinking maybe there's two of them in there. So I grabbed that. We have a bunch of RAM up here. So we have 12 gigs of DDR3 and a total of 8 gigs of DDR4. They're all DDR2 I mean. And they're all 2 gig sticks, which if you guys know about DDR2, 2 gig sticks of DDR2 are pretty hard to find, if not expensive. So we got a whole bunch of different RAMs here. Next we have these cases. Now this case has a full computer inside of it. I have to go through and see exactly what's in there. I just don't really know. This is kind of a half-built case with some stuff in it. Now once again, I need to look and see what's all in here. I don't really know, but it's a micro ATX case, cube case. Right here we have an B85 motherboard, I believe, gigabyte, with a Pentium G in here. This is an 1150 socket motherboard. Up next we have this motherboard, which is in a friggin' case. I don't even know what this is. It was just there, so I grabbed it. This is another Pentium G motherboard with the Pentium G 3220, I think, or something like that in it. And I believe this would be either 8 or 4 gigs of RAM. Yep, 8 gigs of RAM right here, DDR3. So that's fine. So in total I paid $100 for all of this stuff, you guys. And there's still more stuff here, like cooling fans. There's another one of these cases right here, which I don't think there's anything in the hot swap bay. So if we can see right here, there's 2 things of Roseville cooling fans, 120 millimeter ones. There was an Athlon A6 7400K. I have 2 of these Hitachi 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drives, some cold cathode lighting. There's the other hard drive right there, and some parts and some I/O shields for the rest of this stuff here. So like I said, there's a full computer there and down there, and this is just an empty case. So I got all that for $100, and that is why I bailed on another tech show, because I couldn't pass the deal up, and I hoard computer parts. So now I got to figure out exactly what works, and I'm pretty sure everything will work. I'm not really worried about it. I have to figure out exactly what components I'm dealing with though. Like I said, mostly taking apart like this computer. I want to see if there's 2 1.5 terabyte drives in there, because if there are, that's sweet, because that means I got a total of 5 terabytes worth of hard drive space, and that's not even counting builds like this that have hard drives in them. I don't know what's exactly in this, but it's a pretty sweet case, so I wanted it. So I got to open that up and see what kind of computer's in there. But as you can see, the I/O's there, so it does have something a little bit older though. It does have 2 expansion slots. This is ITX, I believe, computer, ITX form factor. So yeah, we'll figure it out. This is a pre-built system. Wow. I could have swore you could buy this case. I don't know. If it is pre-built, that means you'd have to cut that out if you wanted to change out to an ITX board, a different board at least. So yeah, fun stuff, updates, cool stuff. Sorry I flaked on the show. There'll be next week though, don't worry you guys. Alright, so now we're back in my room. I've had a chance to actually go through everything. So as we can see here, there's this case, which is brand new, just some standard random Xeon case or whatever. It's just a really shitty basic ATX case. So there's that. We have these cube cases. There's actually 2 of them. I also have an extra panel, so I can do either windowed or non-windowed on one of them, and then one of them will either be windowed or non-windowed as well. So there's 2 of them here. They both have like a Priva power supplies. One's like a 420 and the other one's like a 500 watt. Not the best of best, but they're there, and they're definitely, while I do knock on like lower end power supplies for really low end systems, low wattage systems, not really using a GPU or maybe a 750 Ti, these are actually pretty dang good. Once again, always just, you know, keep an eye on them, make sure they're not going bad. So we have this system right here. This is actually a full system. I already took it apart. It's really outdated. It's running like DDR1, but we can definitely do some modification to get this to fit a full ITX newer gen build. So I might actually do that someday, because this case is sweet. It's got a handle to make a great little LAN rig. We have that case, which I do have the panels for as well. It's got some pretty sweet bays on it. As you guys can see, we got a bunch of card readers, fan connectors, and all that stuff right there. Hot swap bay, DVD drive, and another floppy disk drive, I guess, if someone wants to use it. And a big weird power button with like diamond display around it. I don't know. Crummy case, but you can see there's just a bunch of SATA cables and other stuff, hot swap bays and stuff like that in there. A CPU cooler, IO plate, yeah, a bunch of random stuff. And then now we can get to the actual good stuff, which we have here. These are 4 packs of Rosewill 120mm fans, so there's 4 of them. I got 2 of these, some cold cathode lighting. I believe one's red. I don't know what color the other one is. It doesn't say what color they are on the box. Usually there's a sticker right here. Okay, that says UV, so there's like a little bit of a red dot on UV. So these might be UV. So I might take them out and see them later, because I actually did want to do UV in my system because I use white and black. So we'll see. We have this, which is an Athlon this is an A6 7400K. I believe that's a dual core AMD CPU FM2 Plus motherboard. So I will be using this probably for an HTPC in the future. We'll go on to our RAM up here. This is all DDR2 memory. And if you guys have shopped for DDR2 memory before for motherboards, it's really, really annoying to get yourself 2 gig sticks, which is the max that a Intel LGA 775 socket motherboard can have, is 2 gigabyte sticks. Even though they do make 4 gigabyte sticks, they are not compatible with Intel systems. So these are all 2 gig sticks of DDR2, which I once again was more than happy to take, since I have been messing with a lot of Core 2 quads lately. It'd be nice to be able to do 6 to 8 gigs on the systems instead of only doing 4 gigs. So we have those. Next we'll move on to this. So this is a Gigabyte B85M DS3H motherboard. This one has the Pentium G3258 in it and 12 gigs of 1333 RAM, which is fine because that's all this Pentium runs is 1333. But this is, actually, if you would think about it, this is older RAM, back for when they had the triple channel setup for what was it, X79 or X58 or whatever motherboard, old motherboards, and they had the triple channel RAM setup, so they sold kits in 3. They don't do that anymore, obviously, but this is a 12 gig set. This will still work 12 gigs 1333 just fine. Right here we have another B85H3. This is a gigabyte, I believe, as well. And no, this is ECS actually up here. So this is ECS, and it's a Pentium 3220 in there. And as well as we have 8 gigabytes of ADATA RAM, 1600 megahertz for this one. Next is this old ass motherboard. So this doesn't even support, like, I don't think this is DDR2, this is DDR1, so this is very old. And we have an AMD Saffron in here, so this probably won't get used. It was literally just one of the motherboards in the bulk of stuff that I grabbed. So yeah, that's there. We have this, which I don't know what kind of CPU this is. It's an Athlon X2, obviously, I know that much. See if I can get the camera to focus, which it won't be able to see it, so this is a socket 940 motherboard with an Athlon X2. Like I said, don't know which one it is, a little dusty. I'll find out later. Not sure exactly how good of a motherboard it is. Is it Asus M3A78EM? So an Asus motherboard, yeah, you know what I mean. It was in a computer, and the computer it was in, I actually didn't really care about any of the stuff that was in it, except for one of these. So I saw a 1.5 terabyte Western Digital green in there, and I'm like, oh sweet, I want that. And he's like, you know what, throw it in your pile and make me an offer when you're done. So it turns out right underneath it was a second one. So this was a server computer. In fact, the top of the case, he actually wrote server on it. So I was actually hoping that the second drive would be, and of course it was. So sweet, awesome, 2 1.5 terabytes. Right above those we have 2 1 terabyte Hitachi drives. Now these are actually 7200 RPM drives as well. And then right next to it, I didn't even know this was in one of the computers. It was in the case, and I just wanted the computer for the case, and I didn't know, none of us knew it was there. And I don't know if it's gonna focus or not. Focus, yeah, it's not focusing. Okay, there we go. So we can see right here, that's a 3 terabyte Toshiba hard drive. So sweet, it's a little old, you know what I mean? July 2013, so it's a 3-year-old drive, but you know what, 3 terabytes, not bad to have as like a backup. So yeah, I got all this stuff, all these cases for $100. So you guys let me know if my $100 was well spent. I think this is definitely one of the best $100 come-ups I've had. And I've been able to get 780s for $100, you know, and GTX 750 Ti's for $40, and I still think that for $100 I got a pretty darn good deal, just because, like I said, 20 gigs of DDR3, 2 Pentium Gs, and 2 LGA 1150 socket motherboards, along with just random spare stuff. 8 terabytes worth of hard drive space, plus DDR2 memory, extra processors, fans, and of course all the cases, because I wanted all these cases because I build a lot of low cheap computers, and it's nice to have spare cases laying around for that. So let me know what you guys think. If I did good, I think I did good. Best 100 bucks I think I spent. So go ahead, say in the comments, oh, you got ripped off, or say, everything's probably broken. I do have to test all the stuff still. But I'd honestly think it all works. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel. I'll catch you guys later.